Hey everybody, this past week YouTube on its recommendation videos has been saying that I should maybe, or it's an advertisement, be interested in that show Lucifer on like Netflix or something. I looked it up, what it is. The story goes something like, the devil, Lucifer, is tired of being the king of hell, changes in his wings for a nightclub in Los Angeles, gets hooked up with the lady detective or something like that, helps her, does good, falls in love. Interesting storyline. Isn't it funny how we think evil isn't so bad? Evil is, the storyline is completely wrong, right? Lucifer isn't the king of hell. He doesn't enjoy being there. It's not like he's on a throne. It's not like he has a choice to go anywhere. And it's not like evil can be changed into good so easy. Like evil just had a bad childhood, and so it needs counseling, and it can find love too, and not be so bad. Be a little bit irreverent, but not so bad. Hi, I'm Aaron. Welcome to Unapologetics. So, as you may have guessed, today we're talking about evil. We've got a problem here in America with evil. And a problem, I don't mean we have problems with it. It's rather that we don't have problems with it because we don't really think that it exists, or we try to ignore evil. It's like then when it pops up, we're surprised and shocked. When evil punches us in the face, or someone close to us, we're like, hey, what happened? How can someone be that bad? That's the problem we have with evil here in America. But anybody that takes a serious look around can see that evil is everywhere. Evil is in individuals, in me and you. Evil can be in groups of people, KK groups or white supremacist groups, things like that. Evil can be in larger societies where whole countries take up evil. Evil is everywhere, and these deep problems that we have, these complicated, multi-layered problems, it shows the invasiveness of evil into this good world of God's. But we like to ignore evil, because really if we're going to ignore God in the world, we have to ignore evil too. It's two sides of the same coin. If God can't exist, evil can't exist either. And here is where we might differ radically, where Christian faith differs radically from secular humanism. Secular humanism saying, well, you know what, people really aren't so bad. They're basically good, and the world can be fixed if we just try a little harder with Western-style democracy or education. Whereas the Christian mindset would say, no, there's something really broken here. There's something really fundamentally broken. Now, a long time ago, the idea of original sin, right? Now today, postmodernist America, original sin is, the last thing on anyone's mind. Thrown it out the window completely, because people are good. That's the way they are, no matter what they are. But back to evil. I'd like to have you look around. Look around, in what evil ways have you been acting? What evil ways have I been acting? An easy one is, who have we been angry at and unforgiving at? Who have we harmed, ourselves or others? We look around, and who is being harmed in our culture? And I'm looking out the window right now in America. Who's being harmed? Is anyone being harmed? Evil is everywhere. Are children being kidnapped? Are women being abused? Are people being killed or robbed? Did you know that I've been thinking about this the past 2 weeks now. You may not have thought about it too much, but I encourage you to look this up. In Cambodia, when the dictator Pol Pot came to power in the 70s, did you know that Pol Pot and his regime, I've got it written here, Pol Pot and his regime killed around 2 million Cambodians, 25% of the population. 25%! So I'm thinking about our house on our street. A lot of the homes have families of 4, more or less. And 1.5 dogs and a picket fence. No, I'm just kidding, they don't. But think about this. 1 out of every household would have been killed by that. Can you imagine? Look down your street or wherever you live. One person out of every house would have been killed for political reasons. We think about the Holocaust. 6 million Jews were killed from in his operation. Plus numerable, counted other people of gypsies and the Jehovah's Witnesses and homosexuals and those people that they had decided were awful people. They killed them too. What about in Rwanda, Africa, 1994? In 100 days, roughly 800,000 people were killed, mostly with machetes. In 100 days. Think of the world wars. Think of the 9/11 terror attacks. Think of all the people killed in the Cultural Revolution in China, or the civil wars in China. There's 2 earlier in the 20th century. Look those up if you don't know. Lots of folks died in those. And around the world, the Soviet Siberia Gulag system, Stalin, Lenin, and then that evil in me, that evil in you, that anger that we carry. Modernism said that, progress will take care of all evil, won't it? Progress will take care of all evil if we just try harder. Modernism said if we educate more people, or if we bring democracy or jobs to people, progress, that the Victorian idea of progress, things are automatically getting better. If you hear people say, whoever heard of such a thing in 2020? Well, 2020, we've all heard of such a thing. But you get the drift. Whoever heard of such a thing? Don't they know that this is whatever year? That's that idea of progress, where we think that things get better and we kind of hide our heads in the sand. Ostriches don't hide their heads in the sand, by the way, but we can hide our heads in the sand and say that, whoever heard of such a thing in this day and age? We want to ignore evil. It's not so bad. The devil owns a nightclub in Los Angeles and he can fall in love. He's really not that bad. We ignore this evil, and then postmodernism comes along and preaches to modernism. Postmodernism is where the cultural ethos that we're in right now. Postmodernism says to modernism, no way, there is evil. But in talking about evil, it doesn't give a way out. Postmodernism, which most of our young people are thoroughly steeped in, anybody under 35, anybody under 40, thoroughly steeped in postmodernism. And there's no redemption from evil. Once it's there, it's there. They see it, but then they have no way out. And once they see it, they want to destroy anything that has evil. But let's really talk about what evil is today. Now, evil isn't redeemable, right? Evil isn't. Back to the postmoderns. Let me clear that up. People that do evil things aren't redeemable. Okay, let's just say that. But now let's talking about evil. Evil is not redeemable in itself. Evil is not redeemable. Evil isn't a nightclub owner in Los Angeles who just needs someone to say they love it so that it can be all right after all. God didn't create evil. God didn't create Satan. You know who did? You and me. Adam and Eve. When we turned from God, when we turned from worshiping God and worshiped something else, we chose rebellion, and that choice, those free choices to turn from God, turns us to evil, creates it within us, and it's a destructive force. I mean, the second after Adam and Eve, what happened? Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. The second group of folks there recorded in the Bible, murder already, jealousy and hate and envy. Evil isn't redeemable. And evil is kind of this slippery amorphous. It's not like a positive thing. You can't say, well, there it is or there it is. It's like this insidious, I got like venom on the comic books, right? It just kind of slides into you and hides itself until it comes out and bites people's heads off and takes over. Evil can grab a hold of people, societies, groups of people, anything. And it controls and it works for destruction. Evil's only job is to destroy. Evil's only mission is to harm. That's why I say Satan isn't a nightclub owner. Can you imagine meeting Satan face to face? Be terrifying. Evil when we see it. We may not be able to describe it, but we know it when we see it. Evil is so very disgusting. It does nothing but harm. Now, let's talk about the Christian response to evil, and it has to do with Jesus. Now, I would challenge you to look at the Bible, not as a book of rules. Now, we're going to start it at the first, and all the major religions do this, but here's the Christian response. We start in Genesis 1 and 2, and we go all the way through. The Bible, the entire Bible is God's response to the problem of evil in His good creation. The response of God to evil is described in the Bible all the way through. And we see Israel and what the law, and we've talked about this last week, as a matter of fact. So I'd urge you to check out last week's Unapologetics if you haven't. God with the law and with Israel, but the law and Israel can't do it because Israel is just too human. And so the lifeboat that was sent to save the world from evil, the lifeboat needs a lifeboat. And so the lifeboat comes in Jesus of Nazareth, the Christ, the Messiah. Now, this is God dealing with evil. Jesus as God comes to His people to begin and to finalize the work of completing this defeating evil. Now, the 3 years of Jesus' ministry leads to a hill outside Jerusalem where Jesus is crucified. And I want you to picture this. Jesus just wasn't killed because, somebody had to die and God said, well, might as well be Jesus. Pow! Somebody's got to die. I want you to get that out of your head. I want you to see this. Jesus as God, it's my belief that He comes to take responsibility for the evil in this universe. And He takes it on that cross upon Himself. The forces of evil, the raging storm of evil piles in on Jesus hanging on the cross. And it turns black as night. God turns His head. God the Father turns His head because God the Son is dying on the cross with the sin of the universe upon Him, the sin of the world. And evil is doing what evil does. It destroys and it murders. And it thinks it wins on the cross, but in fact, God wins on the cross in Jesus, because Jesus takes it all onto himself and dies with it, and it dies. So the Christian faith isn't about rules and regulations and, oh, somebody's got to pay, might as well kill somebody. Dude, get that out of your head. This is Jesus taking care. This is God taking care of the problem of evil. Now, not all the way yet, but we'll get there. We'll talk about that another time. The defeat of evil is begun on the cross, but not all the way. Now, I want you to picture 3 days, right? Christians believe that 3 days later, on that Sunday morning, Jesus steps out of the tomb. And I could get all excited telling you about what this means when Jesus steps out of the tomb to a new creation, because the old creation was broken by sin and evil. Jesus stepping out to a new creation where people are set free from evil. You know, it's still kind of there, right? We're waiting to be perfected. So I'm still going to screw up, and so are you, and evil's still going to sneak in sometimes. And please, God, fill us with the Holy Spirit to help us not. Now, the Christian faith, rather, we believe that Jesus did that. He defeated evil on that cross. Now, that's the example to all other Christians, followers, disciples of Jesus, how serious this stuff is. Now, what's interesting is this Sunday, our lectionary, our gospel reading. Let me just say that our gospel reading is where Jesus says to the disciples, "Hey, y'all, your job is to take up a cross and follow me." Our job as those who profess Christ is not to be just like rule followers and what, we're talking about that. Our job is to take up a cross and follow, Jesus said. Now, where did Jesus go? Well, he took his cross to that hill and he died on as a result of that evil as it was trying to destroy him, and he destroyed it. Now, when he's hanging there, what does he say? Does he say, curse them? No, that's for other religions, right? When their leaders are dying, they say, curse them. Look at the major religions to see which leaders, when they're dying, curse other people. But Jesus says, Father, forgive them, as they're killing him. Father, forgive them, for they really don't know what they're doing. They were a pawn of evil, weren't they? Father, forgive them. As he's dying, as he's being murdered, one of the most gruesome ways you can die, invented by wicked humanity. Father, forgive them. Now, hear the words of Jesus. Pick up your cross and follow me. So I'm going to challenge you, and oh gosh, I'm going to challenge me in your church, or if you're not a believer, I'm going to show to you, to say to you, this is what it really means to be a follower of Christ, to pick up that cross and to carry it to your death. And when evil is trying to destroy you, and when it may succeed, you die and you say, Father, forgive them, as you're warring against that evil. We stand against evil. We do not use the tools of evil to defeat evil, because you can't. Jesus could have held up like that song says, Jesus could have called 10,000 angels. He could have called an angel army to wipe everybody out and pull him off that cross, or never get him up there in the first place. But you know what he did? He died anyway. He took the evil into himself. And so as you and I, as followers, our job, and if you're not a follower of Christ, if you're just thinking about it, hear this. Our job is to stand in the way of evil and block it from harming others by maybe allowing it, by taking that evil, that pain into ourselves. That's what it means, partly, to be a follower of Christ. And evil has our hearts. Evil and lostness have our hearts. And so many people run around looking for that something to fill their heart. And I'm going to tell you what, it's Jesus, y'all. It's Jesus that can fill that hole in us, that where evil has left a gaping wound because evil only destroys and harms. Faith in Christ Jesus heals and restores. And I'm going to invite you to Christ faith today. And I'm going to invite you to call out to Jesus. Even if you don't know how to find Him, He knows how to find you. I don't want to turn anymore, Jesus. I don't want to be rebellious anymore. I want to know. Show yourself to me, and He will find you. And when you do that, you give me a comment down below, because I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. And for those of you who are disciples of Christ already, those of you who are faithful, professing Christians, how are you taking up your cross and standing in the way of evil, maybe even to the point of our own death? How are we standing in the way of evil to prevent its spread? How are we preventing evil? And are we carrying that cross? And are we, as we hang, dying, saying, Father, forgive them? Are we that forgiving? And if not, we are participating in evil. Evil's a serious thing. Evil's a serious thing. Evil is a hateful thing. Evil's a murderous thing. And it's this slimy, disgusting, non-physical thing that shows up when we least expect it and grabs people and cultures and groups. But if we are sincerely Christ following, my hope and prayer is that we might see it and stop it before it does damage to us and to others. So today, y'all, I'm going to invite you to take a hard look at evil and deal with it. Deal with it within yourself and in society at large and in the world around us. Evil is serious. God came to destroy evil in Jesus. We pick up our cross and follow Him. Our responsibility is to stop evil. Thanks so much for watching. I'd invite you to like, subscribe, hit the little bell notification icon, and thanks so much. I'll see you next time.